What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, I said it in another video. If I look and sound strange, I'm currently battling an illness right now. So I do apologize if I don't sound as enthusiastic or if I don't look as great. Still trying to deal with that. But I just wanted to get you guys as whatever videos I could get you because, you guys need content. I want to give you guys content. Hopefully I'll battle this thing and get it out of my system soon. Hopefully I'm better right now than what I was yesterday when this was all going down. But anyways, so I wanted to talk about this, guys, because this was something interesting. But before we get into it, just want to say that this episode is presented by FanDuel. Guys, the NFL season is among us. It's here. And college football is here. We will have football on every weekend leading up to February. So that's just beautiful, man. Beautiful. It's a wonderful time. So, let's give ourselves a round of applause for surviving here. Thank you if you did applaud. Anyways, but yeah, it's time. And, we have betting options now. And FanDuel, they have a lot of great ones, man. The Indianapolis Colts, slight favorites in Indianapolis. If you guys are thinking that you guys want to test your luck, be sure to check out FanDuel once again. Thank you guys. But I wanted to bring this up because Zach Kiefer posted something about this the other day. He posted a article with the New York Times, said, I spent 4 months asking Hall of Famers, number one picks, coaches and executives why teams keep breaking young quarterbacks. Now, obviously, I didn't get to read the freaking article because every time that he posts it, for some reason, I can't connect to the page on New York Times. And if I ever try to get on the New York Times, it's trying to ask me for a subscription. So I hate that crap. I'm not doing it. But anyways, I'm seeing some of the stuff that he's posting about it. And it has an interesting little tidbit, and it brings up a good question about Anthony Richardson. So I want to dive into it a little bit. And again, if you guys are interested in this, or if you read the article, you interpreted things a certain way, please let me know. I want to know in the comments what you guys think. So again, it was talking about a couple of quotes. Kevin O'Connell, he spoke with as well, said, organizations fail young quarterbacks before young quarterbacks fail organizations. He basically said what led Kevin O'Connell to say this and why do so many around the NFL agree. One of the quotes that was said here was, he talked with Kevin O'Connell and he said, we decide in this league very quickly whether a guy can or can't play quarterback. Like it's a simple yes or no. This is the guy or this isn't the guy. Let's have a parade in the streets or let's move on and try to find another one. So basically, again, Kevin O'Connell saying, a lot of organizations tend to basically just determine if a quarterback has it or doesn't have it right away. And in some instances, you do know that right away. Obviously, we saw like Jaden Daniels and Drake May, some other guys in the league that just came in that, clearly haven't figured out. And there's a lot of other examples for sure. But, when you talk about other quarterbacks, some of the most famous ones right now that when people say, hey, look at this quarterback that, was a top pick, didn't really pan out at first, but figured it out later down the road. You talk about Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, just to name a few. So, obviously, Kevin O'Connell is correct. There is not a simple yes or no answer to this. There is ways to know at some point if a guy has it or doesn't have it. But I think one of the other things that was brought up in the article as well was, again, talking about how certain guys are thrust into positions in which they are not ready for. And, we've seen that a lot in recent years. And we've also seen situations where guys get taken in the draft, but they sit behind people and learn and develop behind those quarterbacks and end up in good systems. We talk about Lamar Jackson. We talk about Patrick Mahomes, just to name a few there as well. And what kind of leads this into the Indianapolis Colts Anthony Richardson debacle, and it's what people were saying a lot after reading this article, was we learned somewhat that it was basically Jim Irsay that was pushing for Anthony Richardson to be drafted and to start right away. I don't think it was a direct quote, but the mood around the Colts in 2023 was, from Jim Irsay, it sounded like saying, get a quarterback or else. Basically meaning if they didn't get a quarterback, Ballard would not have a job anymore. Basically is how that situation was panning out, is what people were saying. And he said ultimately he didn't care what quarterback, he just needed a quarterback. And that was why it was so adamant that Jim Irsay was talking about Will Levis a lot in that too, because if the Colts didn't get Anthony Richardson, they would have drafted Will Levis from the sounds of it. And Jim was one of the primary guys in wanting Anthony Richardson to play right away. It sounds like if it would have been Ballard and Steichen's decision, they likely would have sat him. They likely would have sat him and would have allowed Gardner Minshew to come in and be a starter right away, have Anthony Richardson learn behind him, and eventually he would play. Because, that's what the Colts are doing now, right? That's what they're doing now. They're benching him because they don't think he's ready. They're bringing in the guy who they think is more ready to lead this team and lead the offense. And that is why he is out there now. So from what it sounds like, again, this doesn't say it completely in the article, but it's what people are interpreting it as. So I genuinely do want to know if you guys believe this was an Irsay thing. And I can firmly believe it. I can believe it. I do firmly believe that this could have been an Irsay decision, because Irsay was tired of losing, and he was tired of, this whole QB debacle, and he wanted his new guy. He wanted a potential franchise guy. And it just hasn't panned out so far. And that makes a lot of sense when you're looking at it from that angle. Now, obviously, when we look at the situation that they're in now, where the Colts have said they're benching him, but they really don't have any feeling that they want to move on from him and they want to continue to see him try to be better, and that's kind of a good thing, feeding into the quote again about Kevin O'Connell when he was talking about how in the league we decide very quickly if a guy can play quarterback or not. Obviously, Ballard is not really feeding into that right now, because obviously he keeps talking about it and says that Anthony Richardson is going to remain here, and he believes that he can still be something in this league. So obviously the Colts are wanting to try to see if Anthony Richardson can figure it out, because again, guys, remember, he's one of the youngest, most rawest prospects we have ever seen come into the NFL. He was 20 years old and had very few starts from high school, college, etc. And we're finding out he's just not doing all the things necessary to be the best quarterback that he can be right now. Because, he's only 23. It's hard. I get it. Obviously, we want to keep saying there's no excuse. You should be better at it. And to some extent, that's very true. But again, Ballard not trying to be one of those organizations that fails Anthony Richardson right now, and depending on how you feel, it kind of feels like it's a little bit of both situations right now. If it's indeed true that Irsay pressured the Colts management into getting a quarterback, aka Anthony Richardson, and starting him right away, then that is very much a topic of Irsay failed, and the Colts failed Anthony Richardson by starting him right away when he wasn't ready. But it also, by what we're learning from Anthony Richardson right now, is, he is also failing the organization too. He hasn't taken the necessary steps to be that guy for the Indianapolis Colts, right? And right now, we just have no idea if that is indeed going to end up being a thing. We don't know. Is Anthony Richardson going to be the franchise guy for the Indianapolis Colts? I have no idea. But I just wanted to bring this up because I felt like it was a very interesting topic. And I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on, do you feel it was Irsay? What do you think about the situation? How do you feel about, does the organization feel the quarterback more than the quarterback feels the organization? Let me know what you guys think. That'll do it for this one. Again, shout out to FanDuel for sponsoring this episode. But thank you guys again so much. And as always, go Colts.